Flat Earth expert Mark Sargent thinks the moon landing was a hoax.
Technically, the moon itself is a hoax.
Right, but betting with Sportsbet's new iPhone app?
I could do this standing on my head.
Thanks, Gravity. Sportsbet's new iPhone app. It's foolproof.
Hello out there.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Hey, I'm FTFE and welcome back to the channel that does to stupidity what Flatzoid did to 11 frames. Shh, it's a secret. Whether Flatzoid did or did not delete 11 frames is a subject up for debate. Maybe we'll discuss that with him someday. But hello everybody, welcome back to the channel once again. Apologies for not going live on Wednesday with Flatzoid like the plan was, but yeah, I fucked my knee real bad, and the pain kind of switched my brain off for a little bit. So I'm here now because, you know, I guess I hate myself, and, you know, I like punishing my brain or something. I need coffee for this, seriously. I know it says teenager, but I am not, I wish. So today we are going to go and talk with the illustrious Flatzoid. Good old Keith over there. About the the gravity gradient navigation done by submarines. If you haven't seen my recent video that I did alongside Dave McKeegan, I give a thoroughly good explanation of it in that. I'm hoping that Flatzoid has watched that in advance. I'll give a brief overview when I start talking to him, but yeah, so that's the plan. And I see Jiffy Jiffwell shoving all the memberships at me already, so thank you very much for that, my friend. Already have a bunch of super chats and memberships. Amazing. The support you guys give me is constantly mind-blowing. Talking about mind-blowing, let's go and do it, I guess. Coming through. Just waiting for him to pick up. He didn't pick up. He ignored me. I'm supposed to call him on Discord. I did, but he hasn't joined yet, so hopefully he'll join in a sec. Yeah, so this should be a good conversation because, you know, Flatzoid's an odd one. he doesn't understand many things. But at least the conversation with him isn't as, you don't want to have a shower afterwards, like talking to Nathan Oakley or anything. There we go.
Calling me, he's calling me.
Hello.
Hello, how you doing?
I am doing much better than I was a couple of days, thank you. How are you doing, bud?
Oh, good, thanks. Good to see you here.
Right, let's get this. One sec, I'm just trying to figure out how to make it full screen for that, and I might not do. Right, so thank you for coming on and talking to me. I really do appreciate it. It's been a little while. A lot of my guys are very confused because they can't seem to comment on your channel anymore.
Yeah. A lot of people are hidden as trolls.
We
had the purge the other night. Yeah, we had the purge the other night. Must say, my comment section is so much cleaner, so much more positive. Enjoying it.
Does that include blocking MC Toon?
Oh yeah. They were voted. They voted him as a troll comment.
They voted Toon as a troll comment. Ooh.
Yeah. You must go watch it. Go see what his comment was. But they voted.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk to you today about, we've had quite a lot of conversations about gravity, and I wanted to talk to you about something that's very specific about gravity today. Have you had a chance to look into the gravity gradient navigation stuff that I've been covering with Dave McKeegan?
Yes, a little bit.
All right, so if you don't mind, I'm just going to give a brief overview. So if anyone on my side hasn't seen me cover it, and just for your guys as well. So submarines need to be extra stealthy. Obviously, it's the whole purpose of submarines is to not be detected. And using sonar, it is noisy. I repeat, others can hear you. GPS, you have to surface to get a fix, and the signal doesn't go very deep underwater. So the way that submarines, modern military submarines navigate and stay stealthy is to utilize something called gravity gradient navigation. That is to use the mapped gravitational field of Earth and compare it with real-time gravity measurements done with onboard accelerometers on the submarine. Very much like comparing your position on a map to real-world geological features or buildings or something. Because the gravity gradient of Earth has been extensively mapped, if we can then map that in real time on another vehicle of some kind, we can compare our readings with the readings that have been mapped and pinpoint our location. This is something that's done. Gravity gradient navigation is used by military submarines and brings together all of the things that we as globers say about gravity and puts it into a real world situation where it's actually used in industry. And I would love to hear your opinion on how that works if gravity isn't what it is described as.
Okay. First, I'm going to have to say, well done. Yes, you got that information correct. The problem is gravity has never been scientifically proven. So the burden is going to have to be on you to prove that it is gravity. I 100% agree. You do understand that the gravimeters work on passive navigation, though.
What do you mean by passive navigation?
It's secondary, so it's passive. It's not the main way of navigating under the ocean.
Well, it would be in the circumstances where you have to be completely stealthy, yeah. That would be the only, there is no other way to navigate. Dead Reckoning just points you in a direction to pinpoint your location. When you have to be stealthy and remain autonomous, the only option for military submarines is to use the gravity gradient navigation system.
Yeah, but like you said, it's already mapped out. So what happens is because it's based... So yeah, what happens is because it's already based on your last known location. Usually they use the GPS before they go down. They have the last known location, like you said, the Dead Reckoning, and they're able to use the already mapped out path, and that's why they have the gravimeters there, so they are able to use their accelerometers to pinpoint exactly there on that point of the map. I was explaining on the pre-show, when you have those old toy science fair games, that wire that's like bent in all different things, and you have a little ring, a metal ring with a rod, and you're trying to move it around that metal rod to try and not touch. If it touches, the light goes off. It's the same as that. So what you're doing is that's already mapped out how you're going to be, and because you have your last known location and your accelerometer, which is giving the information that you've been here, this is how far you've moved from there, so this is where you should be based on the data,
right,
the topography.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Now, remember, I'm saying now you are claiming this is gravity, so I would like you to go and point out where gravity has been scientifically proven to claim this is gravity and not just, how can I say that, already mapped out data using accelerometry, which is based on densities.
Well, the accelerometer isn't anything to do with density. It reacts to an attractive force created by something. As a submarine moves through Earth's gravitational field, the accelerometers on board react to the distribution of mass around it, because the different distribution of mass is what creates the gravity gradient, i.e. you have more mass underneath you if you are standing at the summit of Everest than you do if you are at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. The difference in gravitational force created over this small distance is termed as the gravity gradient, and that is what it has been mapped, which means that when the submarine moves through this gravity gradient and registers its position in real time with the onboard accelerometers based on the distribution of mass around it, you can then compare that to a map that has been made of the gravity gradient, and that will give you your location. The same as if you are on the surface with a map and you see a road and you go, right, so that's the road. Oh, look, that's this road on the map. I need to keep going in that direction. You need to compare your position in real time, and you do that with gravity. Now, to say gravity hasn't been proven, we'll ignore the whole science doesn't prove things conversation, because what we do know is that we have experimented on and measured gravity for years, and it's something that is empirically measured more than anything else in science. So I don't know what you mean by show you that gravity has been proven, because all of industry shows that gravity is what we expect it to be.
No, what I'm saying is you should have a scientific hypothesis and experimentation if it's scientifically validated, correct?
Yeah, there's lots of those. There's many different scientific experiments that show that gravity does what we predict it to do based on the hypothesis of Fg equals gm1m2 over r squared.
Okay, so can you give me that? Do you have any reference or citation that has a scientific hypothesis for gravity?
Any reference or citation that has a scientific hypothesis for gravity? In particular, yeah, I could just show you to the recent experiments on gravitational acceleration with millimeter-sized objects, which includes the hypothesis and everything in the paper. If you want any of those details, you can simply go to mctoon.net/G and look at the list of over 75 experimentations of gravity that include the hypothesis and etc. in the papers.
Okay, would you be able to pull one up for us quickly?
And it doesn't really matter, because that's not what we're discussing. We're discussing what is happening on the submarine. We don't want to get bogged down into go and prove that that's gravity, because what the submarine does is based on our predictions of gravity. In fact, I could use the submarine gravity gradient as my experiment based on the hypothesis of gravity. I don't need to reference anything else.
Yeah, you do. You have to, unfortunately, because the thing is, your claim is that it's gravity causing why we see the accelerometers work the way they do. Excuse the helicopter noise. Sorry, guys. There's fault fires. So they were trying to get rid of the fault fires.
Are you okay?
So yeah.
Did you say a felt fire?
Yeah, the mountain's on fire.
The mountain is on fire?
Yeah, the one mountain nearby us.
Why is that called a felt? Sorry, if you don't mind me asking, why is that called a felt fire?
Is in English, in South Africa we call it the veld. What should we call it in English? Field.
Oh, right.
Like bush. I would say bushfire, but it's on the mountain. So they got the helicopter trying to sort that out. And
yeah, we didn't really hear the helicopter noise. What we did hear was maybe you cutting in and out a little bit. That was interesting. But you're safe, right? You're not going to be set on fire.
I'm fine. Don't worry.
Good.
But like I said, the burden is you guys, because you're making the claim that is gravity is why the gravimeters work the way they do, even though the gravimeters simply work on the difference of densities. You would agree that when it comes
Difference
to
of
the
densities.
gravimeters, when it comes to the gravimeters, that it can't pick up other things like submarines or anything, icebergs or anything. It can only pick up the mountains under the water based
No,
on
it picks
the salt
everything up. It
water.
can pick up even sea creatures. It can pick up the minutest change in gravity around it, be it from another submarine, be it from a whale, be it from an underwater mountain, be it from an iceberg. Whatever mass is around it creates a difference in the gravitational field, and that can be mapped in real time.
Can I share my screen quickly?
Yeah.
There we go.
You said that it
Can you read
works
the
on
conclusion there for us
densities.
quickly?
You said it works on densities. I'm just wondering if you could elaborate on that for me.
I will, but can you quickly just read what this conclusion says?
Gravity gradiometers
Just
can be
for
used for underwater navigation. Yeah, the article presents the basic method that using gravity gradient data in real time warns of the circumstances of an underwater mountain in the submarine's trajectory. Yeah, the measurements required will always have a good signal to noise ratio. It's hard to read, it's coming through a bit green and red to me. Measurements required will always have a good signal to noise ratio that are dependent on the density contrast between ice, water, and the rock forming the underwater mountains. Yeah, so what that says is that it will actually be able to tell you the difference between what the materials are. It will be able to tell you what is ice, what is rock, because they will have different densities and therefore different gravitational fields that are being exerted by them. So as the submarine goes past an iceberg, it wouldn't register that as a mountain. It would register that as ice because we know what the gravitational field the ice would make compared to the gravitational field that rock would make. And that's what that's saying there, is that the measurements required always have a good signal to noise ratio that are dependent on the density contrast between ice water and the rock forming the underwater mountains, i.e. they will be able to tell the difference between one and the other.
Sorry, can I correct you? It's seawater and rock forming, not ice water.
Seawater and rock. Sorry, yeah. As in, so it will be able to tell the difference between one thing and another, be it seawater, ice water, a whale, another submarine, or rock. It will be able to have the difference in the contrast of one thing and another based on the gravity gradient that these things make.
Okay, can read on. The system is
capable of being calibrated and optimized, and is basically not capable of detecting other submarines, icebergs, ice layers, or ice walls. The system is capable of, yeah.
Sure. Okay, so it's not gravity then, because if it was gravity, it would be able to pick up other large bodies of mass, correct?
Well, obviously depending on the size of the masses. Now, you can use the system depending on which system is being used. Now, there is actually several different systems that are being used. The recent ones that have been tested are the ones that are much more accurate and will be able to detect a lot more. And those are using Bose-Einstein condensates instead of standard accelerometers. And those are the ones that will be able to detect the difference in, the slightest difference. So you could detect a fish next to the submarine, or a submarine a very long distance away, because it's much more accurate. What it does depend on is the accuracy of the system on board.
Okay, but like I said, so you would agree that let's say a whale or even a iceberg or another submarine has enough mass to be able to be detected, correct?
Depending on the accuracy of this particular system. A basic accelerometer might not have the margin of error that is low enough to detect something with as small a mass as a submarine. But with the, there's different ones. There's basic accelerometers, there's piezoelectric accelerometers, there's the Bose-Einstein condensate accelerometers. It depends on the system. That particular system you were looking at there is based on a physical accelerometer system. The one that the Royal Navy used in sea trials in the 2010s was piezoelectric based. The one in sea trials that was done in 2018 is Bose-Einstein condensate based. Each one is more accurate and more able to detect than the previous one. The very early models were not as good at detecting as the newer models, if that makes sense. You know, the technology gets better and better. Initially, the system was pretty rough. It could just detect very big differences in masses, right? And so that would be a massive ravine underneath the submarine compared to a mountain. It would be able to detect that. But as the system has improved, you move from the accelerometers to the piezoelectric accelerometers to the Bose-Einstein condensate accelerometers. The margin of errors got smaller and smaller and smaller, and the ability to detect smaller and smaller masses has increased.
Right, so then it's not gravity then?
Well, yes, absolutely, yes, because it matches the predictions of gravity.
No, because if it was gravity, you'd be able to pick up things like submarines and icebergs and so
Well, you
forth.
can with the piezoelectric and the Bose-Einstein condensate ones.
Because they're more accurate. It's not
accurate.
Gravity. What makes them more accurate?
The actual systems have a lower margin of error.
And how do they have a lower margin of error?
Because they are based on newer technologies.
So let's, for instance, say with the quantum, you've looked into the quantum gravimeters now that they use, correct?
That is the Bose-Einstein condensate ones, yes.
Do you know how the mechanics work of that?
It uses a Bose-Einstein condensate to super chill everything around it so that the detection of what's going on is a lot higher. Also requires extreme damping techniques, which interestingly enough, they got from the same damping techniques that were put in place to allow the desalination plants to run 24 hours a day.
Okay, so I'm going to put it this way as well. To make it simple for the other guys, can I explain it to them in a simple way? It's a box, you could say, holding atoms. I think it's Rudin atoms or whatever, and they use lasers to just cool it down to very, very cold that it's not moving at all. Then they separate those atoms into two different sections. They use the lasers once again to get them back together, and then they form very cold. They're so cold that they're not moving. They together. So as soon as it picks up a difference in thermal energy around it, that has a vibration, and therefore they can pick up the so-called acceleration. Correct?
I mean, there's a lot of nuances that were missed, but on a very basic level. I
put in very simple terms for other people because they don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, there's a lot more to it. There's you have to take into account what the dampening effects are to the effects of the gravitational acceleration, but yeah, kind of it's super cooling atoms so that they are able to detect any movement more than they would before because there's no intrinsic movement within the atoms. Obviously, you can't get zero movement. You can't ever cool anything to absolute zero.
Yeah, obviously, because it's impossible. It's impossible to get to the 0 Kelvin, exactly.
But again, what happens with these, any of the systems, the accelerometer, the physical accelerometers, the piezoelectrics, the quantum Bose-Einstein condensate version, they all do what we expect them to do if gravity does what we say it does. So we can use this as part of our hypothesis. So, if gravity is a real thing, if gravity is an apparent attraction between masses that's proportional to the product of the masses and inversely proportional to the square distance between them, then we would expect accelerometers on board a submarine to react in a certain way to distribution of masses. So then we do the experiment of actually doing this, and we find out that that's what it does, and it matches the predictions of gravity.
So you would agree that's just circular reasoning then?
No, that's how you do science. You make a prediction and you test the prediction.
Yeah, but to test the prediction, you would have to isolate it, correct?
You isolate what?
You have to isolate the cause. You would have to manipulate and isolate the cause.
Yeah, and
how do you isolate gravity?
You don't isolate gravity. You isolate the thing that's affecting what's going on. So you have your IV and your DV. What's your independent variable in this case? Do you know? If we're talking about just the submarine gravity gradient navigation, all right, what would be the independent variable in this experiment?
I know, you tell me. You're the one claiming gravity.
I know. I'm just wondering if you would be able to, be on the same page as me.
You're the one claiming gravity, so you're the one that has to tell me what.
Well, I know. I was just wondering if, in the nature of the talk of the experiment, if you would also know what the IV would be in regards to the accelerometers on board the submarines. Because the DV, the dependent variable, is obviously the movement of the accelerometers, right? That is the effect that is happening, right? Do you agree?
That's the effect.
Right? So the independent variable in this case would just be the position of the submarine.
So position, not gravity then?
Well, position is the independent variable that you change for the dependent variable, which is the gravitational force applied. Yes, the dependent variable is moving because of the gravitational force.
But gravity is not a force. And
gravity creates a force.
Remember you said that the independent variable is the distance, so therefore it's
the
not
position
gravity,
of the submarine.
Because the independent variable would have to be gravity itself, because you have to isolate gravity.
The gravity is affected by both distance and size, so the position would be what we expect to affect gravity.
So you're already jumping steps then. So
no, I haven't jumped a single step.
Yeah, so you first have to prove gravity, then you can move on to say the distance.
Well, we've done that. We've measured gravity. That's been done years ago. I don't need to repeat science that's been done.
But that's what I'm trying to tell you. So if you're saying it's gravity that caused because of the distance, you would first have to prove that it is gravity that caused that distance. You understand? So you can't take it as circular reasoning.
The gravity that caused that difference.
Sorry. You can't say the distance causes the difference in gravity if you haven't already established that gravity is proven.
Well, we've measured gravity. We know gravity is a thing, so I don't need to worry about that. That's been done. We've had that experiment and measurements for centuries. I don't need to do things that have been done already. Now, what we're doing is experimenting on gravity based on a knowledge of it. And if gravity is what we say it is, then this is what we expect will happen. Because that's what you do. You make a prediction, and then you test that prediction. And the prediction is, if gravity is something that creates a force, like we say, that's proportional to the masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them, then this is what we expect to happen. This is the prediction. So let's do an experiment, and let's see if this experiment happens. The IV would be the position of the submarine. The DV would be the change in the gravitational acceleration affecting the accelerometers. Done. No problem.
Okay, now I'm going to say again. Could the system detect other submarines? No. A submarine drives
depending
by filling
on the version.
Large tanks with seawater. It attains neutral buoyancy once its weight has been balanced. Thus, the overall density of the submarine is equal to the water around it. So you would agree that's density, not gravity. Okay? Then it says, a gravity gradiometer...
What's density rather than gravity? Sorry. No one's disagreeing that density is a thing, but then that's what creates part of the buoyant force, which is why the submarine stays where it is. And gravity is included in those calculations, of course.
Again, remember, if you're claiming gravity picks up, the graviometer picks up because of gravity. If you have something with large mass, like it's a submarine or an iceberg, it should pick it up. But it doesn't pick it up.
Depending on the margin of error, yeah.
Do you know why it doesn't pick it up?
Well, because the margin of error of the instruments on the older versions was too low. That's why. On the newer versions, on the piezoelectric accelerometers and on the Bose-Einstein condensate accelerometers, it can pick up much smaller masses than the very early versions.
No, the reason it doesn't pick it up is because of the density. The densities would be the same as the seawater around it.
No.
Because the instrument is detecting the difference in densities, not gravitational.
And how would it detect the difference in density of something that is, say, 200 feet below the submarine?
I don't know. You claiming it's gravity. It says you're on screen. The density of the submarine is equal to the water around it. The gravitometer would not be able to detect it. Another submarine, until it was extremely close and could sense the different contributions to the measurements from different parts of the submarine.
Yeah, exactly. So, because like I said earlier, gravity is both proportional to the product of masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. So, as another submarine gets closer and closer and closer, the gravitational force created between the submarine and the accelerometers also get stronger and stronger and stronger. So as that submarine gets closer, like it just said, it can pick it up. But there is, for you to claim that it's density, there would need to be a mechanism for which the accelerometer could pick up the density of something that is several hundred feet away from it. Could you please explain how that's possible?
I'm saying it's based on density because that's what the
I know you've said that. So could you please explain how a change in density would affect an accelerometer inside a submarine, inside a housing?
I don't know. It's not my claim. I'm not making the
claim. No, it is your claim.
Is...
You just made the claim that it's density.
No, I'm saying that's what the reference says. So if they're saying it's density that it doesn't pick up, then that means it's not gravity. The reference doesn't say anything
about the gravimeter is picking up density. That's just saying about That's just saying about keeping the submarine neutrally buoyant is to match the density of the water to the submarine. That's not talking about the gravimeters.
It's all about the gravimeters, yeah. But anyway,
it didn't say that the gravimeters are the same density. It said that to keep the submarine in its same position, you would want to match the density of the submarine to the density of the water at that particular point, being neutrally buoyant. And obviously, if you wanted to go up higher, you change the ballast of the submarine, because that's trimming the ballast is something very important on the submarine. But what we're talking about is the actual accelerometers. So the basic versions of the accelerometers on the very early versions of this system were not just in a box, they were on an array around the submarine. You'd have some at the front, some on the conning tower, some near the back, in different places, so it could detect different distributions of mass, right? So the hypothesis of gravity says that the gravitational field created by mass will be different depending on the amount of mass, and those accelerometers will react to that different in gravitational field, which matches what we say. You specifically made the claim that no, it's going to be density, so I would need to know how density would be able to be picked up by an accelerometer when it's not physically touching it.
Vibrations.
What vibrations?
Everything has vibrations, correct? Especially metals underneath the pressurized system.
And how is the vibrations of... Right, so let's say the submarine is, going, moving along underwater, and underneath the submarine, there's the floor. But all of a sudden, there's a massive ravine, okay? How does the accelerometers in the array system on board the submarine detect that there is now a ravine underneath the submarine several hundred feet away?
Data.
What data?
It's already got the data. Remember, you've already
got it's got the reference data, but how does it detect it in real time? It doesn't know where it is unless it can register its position in real time to reference to that data. So how does it map its position in real time and know that there is a massive void underneath it if it's all to do with density?
Because that's what the reference said. It's got to do with the densities. It picks up the difference of densities.
No, it did not say the gravimeter picks up densities.
The reason it can't pick up the differences like a submarine or an iceberg if it's far away is because the density would be the same as the seawater it's in. So it would have to be
How does it detect density, though? You keep saying it's density, but how would it detect density of something that's really far away from it? There's no vibrations. There isn't vibrations that it can detect. How is an accelerometer picking up vibrations of something that's not moving?
Everything has resonic vibrations. Even a static piece of metal still has vibrations.
There is nothing on board the submarine that is capable of picking up those kind of vibrations. That's not how accelerometers work.
You were on a submarine before, correct?
Yes, I was for a long, long time. And I can tell you firsthand, there is no piece of equipment on board that is able to detect the intrinsic vibrations in matter.
Okay, so when you're on that submarine and they say, okay, the red light comes on, you guys have to be as quiet as possible. Would it be considered that even if you breathe too loud and it makes a vibration on a pipe or something, they'll be able to hear you?
That's vibrations of the submarine, not the world around it. And what that would do is if, for instance, you were silent sailing, and it's not a red light, there's actually kind of a light blue kind of light that comes on for silent sailing. If I was to drop a massive spanner, right, and that reverberated around and vibrated from one thing to another to the hull, then it could send out very small vibrations through the water that could be detected by another submarine's sonar system. Right, but that is not the same as the underwater mountain just being there, not doing anything. That's not going to send out signals that can be picked up by an accelerometer. The point of the accelerometer is so that the sonar system isn't used. It's nothing to do with that. So it couldn't detect physical sound waves. There's no way that it could do that.
Okay.
So the question goes back to you, how could these either physical accelerometers, piezoelectric accelerometers, or Bose-Einstein condensate accelerometers know that there is a difference in density a few hundred yards away? How does it know that?
Remember, you are trying to obfuscate the point on proving its gravity to make it put the burden of proof onto me.
Well, no, gravity's already been measured. I don't need to do that.
No, it's not. Remember,
yeah, it has. There's lots of measurements. You just go to mctoon.net/G. There's about 75 there.
So I asked you, would you bring one up for us?
And you can do it yourself. You can go to mctoon.net/G. There's plenty there. But that's not the conversation we're having. We're having the conversation about gravity gradient navigation, which is a real thing that is done. And it uses our knowledge and understanding of gravity as we understand it to function the way that it does.
That's circular reasoning. Now, I need you to show me...
There's zero circular reasoning there.
Gravity... There's just circular reasoning. So I need you to prove, to show me the scientific hypothesis and experiment to show gravity is a force, please.
I never said gravity is a force.
Okay, great. So then
gravity creates a force. Let's get this very, very clear. Gravity creates a force that is proportional to the product of two or more masses and inversely proportional to the square of the difference between their centers.
So you would have a scientific hypothesis and experiment for that?
Yeah, lots. mctoon.net/G. Just go have a look. Plenty of them there.
No, you just bring one up for us.
Well, no, because that's not the conversation. The conversation is specifically about gravity gradient navigation, which is a real thing. I don't need to go and prove gravity that's been done. You know, that's all the experiments have been done for years. This conversation specifically is about a real world, physical, mechanical thing that is used in the real world and is based on our knowledge of gravity. If you're saying it's not gravity, then you need to propose a decent replacement for what we understand as to what's happening.
I don't need to replace anything. You haven't proven your premise first. Just because you have circular reasoning...
I absolutely have given you the hypothesis, yeah.
No, you haven't given a hypothesis. Just because you're giving a circular reasoning, faith-based deduction...
No faith at all.
We use it in real life, so therefore it's true. That's circular reasoning.
That's not circular reasoning, that's evidence.
So I'm asking you to go back to the beginning...
No, I've done all that. I don't need to do all that. We've been through that for lots. This is a specific thing that's further on from the show me gravity's a thing. Because we've shown gravity's a thing. And if you are confused about gravity being a thing, then just go to mctoon.net/G and have a look at the many experiments of gravity that are held on that page. I don't need to bring it up. They're all there. Anyone can go and get them. Anybody here watching on my side or your side can go to mctoon.net/G and look at the experiments.
That's what I'm saying. You making the claim now of him having it, so you have to bring the citation up for everybody to see.
No, anyone can go and look at it. I don't have to do it. We've done all that many, many times. I've been through that countless times.
Seems you're scared to bring one up.
No, I just don't need to. I've done it countless times. I'm not getting off track in the conversation. The conversation is specifically about how submarines do gravity gradient navigation.
They don't. That's the thing. They use.
Well, they do. They do. I've used it. I've used the system, and that's what they do. You can't say they don't when they do. It's a physical thing that is done with our knowledge of gravity. Everything that we say about gravity results in this working the way that it does.
Okay, I'm going to tell you again. You having circular reasoning, saying it is gravity that causes that. again, you saying that it is gravity because of circular reasoning doesn't make it.
Reasoning? I haven't done any circular reasoning.
I use it every day. I used it before. And gravimeters, I say it's a force that attracts force because I believe in gravity. That's called circular reasoning.
I don't have a belief of gravity. Evidence suggests that gravity is real. Belief is irrelevant.
Where's your scientific hypothesis and experiment?
I've given that plenty of times, and you can find more of them on mctoon.net/G.
Don't you think it would be wise if you presented it to us so we can see?
I've done that approximately 500, 600 times. So, it's all good. But what we're doing right now is we're talking about submarine gravity gradient navigation, which is a thing that is done.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not done. I'm just saying it's not gravity.
What is it
you
then?
making the claim that it is gravity means you have to back it up that it is gravity. So to do that,
it matches the predictions of gravity.
So to do that, you have to give me the scientific hypothesis and experiment to prove it is gravity instead of telling me.
We all know that science doesn't prove things, so I couldn't give you a scientific experiment that proved things because that's not what science does. But I can certainly give you many scientific experiments that demonstrate that gravity is what we say it is. Would you like a list?
You can give me a citation that shows your scientific hypothesis and
you can find the citations at mctoon.net/G.
Just bring up one that you say will be applicable. So there isn't one then.
Well, there is mctoon.net/G. Anybody can go there. Anybody right now watching this stream is more than welcome to go to mctoon.net/G, and you will find a large list of experiments and hypothesis and everything for gravity. I don't need to go and show you it because I have done that personally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, even in conversations with you. So we don't need to repeat something that's been done. We have moved on from that, and we're now talking about a specific function of gravity that submarines utilize to navigate around the world.
Okay. So if I go and say I took a .22 and I shot a rabbit at 1 kilometer away without a scope, and I've said I've done it many times, and I have video footage for it, and you ask me to see it, and I say, no, you can go search for it yourself. Would you say that is fair on my behalf?
If you had presented the video before, then yeah. But if you hadn't presented the video before, then it wouldn't be. I have presented this data before, so I don't need to do it again. Where? On this channel, on www.youtube.com/FTFE1.
Okay, so can you show it, because we are talking now between me and you, and I haven't been presented with.
I literally have presented you this stuff many times, Flatzoid, in conversations about gravity.
Can you show me?
Why would I do something that's been done before?
Because
I've shown you these things before.
No.
Yeah, we've had conversations specifically about gravity where I've gone through them with you.
Sorry, I've been asking this many times, and I still, to date, have not got a single scientific hypothesis and experiment for gravity.
Well, no, I've definitely shown you them. I mean, you can say that I haven't, but I have done, even in our conversations. But, I'm not derailing the conversation by doing something that I've done before, or going over things that I've gone over before. We are talking specifically about how submarine gravity gradient navigation works. I don't need to go back and do the thing I've already done.
We've already established it works. The problem comes from you just auto-assigning your faith to becoming gravity.
Zero faith. It works on what we expect from gravity. It matches the predictions of gravity. It follows the scientific method of gravity.
Please give it to us then. What's the scientific predictions of gravity? What's the scientific method of gravity, please?
Well, there's no scientific method of gravity. It follows the scientific method and utilizes gravity within that scientific method. So, any observation of something accelerating towards the ground is a simple observation. The hypothesis is that there's an attractive force between masses that's proportional to the product of two or more masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. The prediction of that is, if that's the case, then something that is able to be moved by an attractive force will move a certain amount depending on how much mass is near it. The experiment would be sticking an array of accelerometers on board submarines and sailing near underwater mountains to see if the accelerometers move the predicted amount based on the calculations of mass and the distances between them.
Okay, so you're saying if I drop something that is scientific proof of gravity.
No, I did not say that at all. I said that's an observation of something accelerating towards the ground. When did I say that you dropping something proves anything? Are you like hearing
you just
things?
You just said things accelerating towards the ground.
Yeah, that's called an observation. You know, that's the first step in like the basic scientific method, right? Is make an observation.
Yes. So I would like
so
to
I
go
observed
on
an
with
acceleration towards the ground. That's an observation, right?
Okay, great. So what's next? What's the cause for that observed phenomena?
I told you that there's an attractive force between masses that's proportional to the product of two or more masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. That's my hypothesis.
Great. So how did you manipulate this cause?
How did I manipulate the cause? I haven't manipulated any cause. I haven't done an experiment yet. That's where you manipulate stuff in the experiment.
Yeah, you just said what the cause is for the observed phenomena.
No,
so
I didn't. I gave you a hypothesis as to what is happening.
Yeah, which would be the cause for the DV observed.
Yeah, and I also explained within that sentence what the IV and DV would be.
So, now how would you isolate it when you move to the experimental stage?
By putting something that can only be affected by the apparent forces that we expect.
And what are those forces?
The force created by gravity.
So gravity is not a force?
Correct, it creates a force.
So it's not gravity then, it's the forces.
It's the force created by gravity. Yeah, gravity creates a force.
And
gravity does this thing.
How does gravity create this force?
That's irrelevant.
No, the thing is, you are claiming when something accelerates towards ground, this is due to gravity creating a force. If I'm understanding this correct.
That's my hypothesis, yeah.
So we're observing gravity, or are we observing the force causing things to accelerate?
We're observing an acceleration. I don't know what that is yet. That's just the observation. The hypothesis is that there is some kind of attractive force that is proportional to the product of the masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. That's my hypothesis. And that hypothesis also includes the IV and the DV, if you listen carefully.
Great. So then it's not gravity then. It's
yeah, because gravity creates that force.
Okay. Now remember, we're not talking about gravity. Your hypothesis has nothing to do with gravity.
No, my hypothesis was there is some kind of attractive force that.
So not gravity.
Yeah. Well, that attractive force is created by gravity.
Yeah, but we're not talking about gravity now. Exactly. We're talking about the attractive forces now. So not gravity.
Which is created by gravity. Yeah. So gravity causes this thing to happen.
Again, you don't even need to say gravity.
I mean, you can call it what you want.
Your hypothesis.
You can call it whatever you want, but that is what gravity is. Gravity is an attractive force between masses that is proportional to the masses and inversely proportional to the distance, the square of the distance. That is what gravity is. You can call it what you want. You can call that force whatever you like, but I'm personally going to call it gravity.
Sorry. Did you not just 2 minutes ago say gravity's not a force? Gravity
it's a force that's created by gravity. Yeah.
So gravity causes the acceleration. Your hypothesis is simply talking now about the accelerator forces, which is not gravity.
It's
Why are you
bringing
gravity into this?
Because it's created by gravity. Again, my hypothesis is that there is an attractive force that is proportional to the product of the masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. That attractive force is created by gravity. It is the force of gravity.
I don't think you understand how hypothesis works, Craig.
I just gave you a hypothesis. And please don't tell somebody that has completed many different STEM courses that they don't understand a hypothesis.
Okay, Craig, you just literally gave a hypothesis that the cause of the acceleration is accelerative forces.
No, I didn't.
Based on... Okay, so that's exactly what you said.
No,
you
listen to the words. My hypothesis is that there's an attractive force between the two masses. And that attractive force is proportional to the product of the masses and inversely proportional to how far apart they are, the square of the distance between them. That's my hypothesis, that there is an attractive force and it is affected in the ways that I said, the IV and the DV. And that attractive force is the force of gravity.
Sorry. Gravity's got nothing to do with what you just said.
It's everything to do with what I just said. That is gravity.
Sorry, can I break it down for you? you just said observe natural phenomena, things accelerating towards the ground. Cause the mass accelerating due to a force due to its mass and the proportional distance. Correct? That was it.
Which is what gravity is. That is gravity.
Now it is gravity. I thought you said gravity creates that. Now you said gravity.
That whole thing is gravity is an attractive force between these objects. That is the force of gravity. It's what gravity creates. So gravity can be described. Gravity can be described as something that creates an attractive force between these masses. That's it.
So gravity creates gravity.
Gravity creates an attractive force.
So then it's not gravity then that you're busy with your hypothesis then?
Yeah, it is, because my hypothesis is that gravity creates an attractive force.
But you're not showing now with hypothesis what is creating the attractive force. You're showing
I absolutely am. The thing that creates the attractive force is the size of the masses and the distance between them.
Not gravity. Congratulations.
That is gravity creates these things. Because there's a mass and a difference between them, gravity creates the forces that is attractive between those things.
No.
That is what we call gravity.
You just said it's mass and it's inversely proportional.
Gravity says that will happen. That is the predictions of gravity.
Sorry,
no worries. You don't need to apologize. I forgive you.
We're doing this from scratch without even looking at gravity. Let's say the word gravity never existed.
Okay, then I would just describe it as an attractive force. Then I don't need to use the word gravity. I would just say something. Don't know what. Something creates an attractive force between masses. This attractive force appears to be proportional to how big the things are and appears to be inversely proportional to how far apart they are. Oh, I know. Let's make a prediction based on that, shall we? So, if that prediction is correct, then an accelerometer, a block attached to a string, will react to this attractive force when we move it closer to another mass. Oh, right. How can we experiment on that? I know. Let's get something that goes underwater near a bunch of different masses underwater and stick accelerometers on that to see if the mass of our hypothesis is correct. Oh, look at that. The accelerometers react to the masses around it as we expect. So there apparently is an attractive force between those masses. Oh, wow, what should we call all this? Well, I don't know. What did you say? You said it was created by something. Well, let's say that thing is gravity. There we go. I've just named it gravity.
So then it is gravity, not gravity causes the mass restricting the mass, correct?
Yeah, gravity is what has caused this entire thing. Gravity creates the attractive force between those things. If gravity wasn't a thing, then there would be no attractive force between the masses.
So gravity causes gravity, according to you?
No, gravity causes an attractive force. Just like an engine creates a force. An engine doesn't create an engine creates a force. Just like that, gravity. Just like an engine creates a force, gravity creates a force, but itself is not a force.
Just like I'm saying, so you can't say that the word given to describe it is gravity if you're saying gravity is what causes this acceleration. Because now, according to your hypothesis, you have now figured out the cause for the effect observed, the phenomenon.
Yeah, I have. The distance and the size is what affects the attractive force. And that is the predictions of gravity. Because the universal law of gravity is Fg equals gm1 m2 over r squared. And that says, that states that if gravity is a real, then there will be an attractive force between these masses. That is what we call, this whole thing happening is what we call gravity. Just like a car moving is, what we call the car being in motion, thanks to the engine.
Okay, so I'm going to try and explain this again. So observe phenomena, things falling to the ground.
Accelerating
to the ground.
Yeah.
Cause for things accelerating to the ground, we see the mass based on is proportional to the distance. It attracts mass. That's what it is. So isolated that now.
Almost right. What the hypothesis is
proportional.
That there is apparently some kind of attractive force that is proportional to the product of the masses, and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Right? Do you agree that that's a valid hypothesis?
Okay, great. Now, once you've got that done and you've said it, and now you've done your experiment, you've isolated the variables, you've validated now that is the cause for the observed phenomena, correct?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we've validated that there is some kind of attractive force between masses. Yeah.
Great. Now, I want you to go and show me gravity.
Show me magnetism.
Oh, I can show you magnetism.
No, you can show me the effects of magnetism. You can't show me magnetism.
I can show you magnetism, yeah.
No. You can show me the effects of magnetism.
The north and south poles in magnetism does exist, but now you're just obfuscating from the point.
So again, I can show you the effects of gravity, just like you can show me the effects of magnetism.
So that's the point. You just explained, you know the cause for a natural phenomena, things appearing to accelerate to the ground. So you did now your experiment, you validated it's a mass attracting mass. Now, I want you to go
we say gravity is,
and observe, now I want you to observe gravity so you can manipulate gravity to say gravity is the mass attracting mass, please.
Well, I never said gravity is the mass attracting mass. I said gravity
just said 10
creates.
seconds ago.
I said gravity creates the force that appears to make mass attract mass. That's it.
Okay, great. So, what is the natural observed phenomena for gravity?
What is the natural observed phenomenon for? I don't. That's not how science works. You don't do a natural observed phenomenon for something. You start with an observation and you work from there. You don't go, oh, right, what is gravity? Let's observe gravity. That's not how you do it. The observation is what you start with, and the observation is that things accelerate towards the ground. That's it. That's my observation.
So you can't observe gravity then?
You can observe the effects of gravity, just like you can observe the effects of magnetism.
Oh, according to science, gravity doesn't exist because you can't observe it, correct?
You can observe, well, if it doesn't exist, then you wouldn't be able to observe the effects of it.
Exactly. You understand what I'm saying? So you can't observe gravity. You get this.
You can observe the effects of gravity, just like you can observe the effects of magnetism. You can't observe magnetism. You can observe the effects of magnetism.
You can observe magnetism, mate.
Tell me how you can observe magnetism.
You can put little iron filings. You stick a north pole between it. You see.
Yeah, that is the effects of magnetism. That is happening because magnetism is a thing. That's not magnetism. That is the effects of magnetism.
Really? What's the cause? What is the cause of the North Pole attracting to the South Pole in magnetism?
A difference in where the electrons are in the magnet.
So magnetism.
Can you observe that? Can you observe the electrons being in different positions by looking at it? No, you can't. What you can do is observe the effects of magnetism. You can put iron filings on a sheet of paper on top of the magnet and observe the effects of the magnetic field around it by the iron filings taking the shape of it. But you can't actually observe the magnetic field itself, only the effects of it.
So in other words, you're saying magnetism doesn't exist?
No, it absolutely exists because it makes things happen. You can observe the effects of it. That's, showing that it exists.
Okay, but we would agree if I take a north and south pole and it attracts one another, we call that magnetism. The attraction is magnetism. We can actually go manipulate.
Just like the attraction between masses is gravity.
We can manipulate the IV and DV of the magnetic fields to cause a different effect.
How'd you do that?
Electromagnetism. Stick a current through it or not, and you get electromagnetism. How's that?
Okay, so how do you change the IV of just a magnetic field? Like, how would you increase it, or how would you? Electric. All right, but how would you literally manipulate a magnetic field up or down instead of just turning it on or off? Can you do that?
Electric field.
What do you mean electric field?
Electric current.
Yeah. Well, any other ways?
Okay. So, you can change the north-south pole? How about you can take something that is magnetic and you can take something that's ferromagnetic and stick it next to it and it becomes magnetic?
Any other ways?
There's so many.
Any other ways you can change the magnetic field?
There's many ways you can do it. The point is you're obfuscating from the fact you can.
No, I'm not obfuscating. I'm asking you questions.
You still haven't observed gravity to be able to
I've observed the effects of gravity, just like we can observe the effects of magnetism.
No, you observe the effects of things accelerating, and those effects.
No, that is my observation. The things accelerating is my observation.
So things accelerating is your observation, correct? And what were the cause for that acceleration? What is
an apparent attractive force?
Great. So not gravity then.
Well, gravity is what creates that. You can call it what you want. Instead of gravity, let's call it unicorn farts, okay? Unicorn farts are in fact creating that attractive force. But what we do know, I'm still talking. What we do know is that there is an attractive force between masses that is proportional to the product of the masses and inversely proportional to the square distance between them. We know that exists. And we call that entire phenomenon gravity.
Okay, so again, gravity creates gravity then?
No, gravity creates a force.
So then that's not gravity then, because gravity creates the force.
Yeah, gravity is called the force of gravity. It's a force created by gravity, yes.
Okay, cool. So please show me observed phenomena of gravity.
An acceleration towards the ground is where I would start.
No. You said the acceleration towards the ground was the mass of attracting mass. That's not gravity, remember?
That is gravity. That entire phenomenon of the mass attracting mass, creating a force, that phenomenon is called gravity.
No, it is. You just literally said gravity is the cause for that phenomenon. Now we've established
gravity is what creates that phenomenon. Yes.
Now I want you to establish it is gravity what causes that phenomena. You understand?
Well, we're just calling that phenomenon gravity.
So
that entire phenomenon is just called gravity. That's the name we've given that phenomenon.
Great. So I can call that phenomenon densities then, correct?
No, because density is a different thing. You're taking the name of something else and putting it there. Gravity isn't a name that is for something else.
You're also doing that. You're taking acceleration and calling it gravity.
No, I'm saying that the cause of the acceleration is gravity.
Then you have to prove it's the cause.
Well, we don't prove in science, so I'm not sure what you mean, but the hypothesis would be validated.
So then that's circular reasoning then. You don't have
there's no circular reasoning. I've given you my observation, my hypothesis, my prediction, my experiment, and my analysis. And at the end of it, we have concluded that yes, there is in fact an attractive force between masses, just as we predicted. Or what should we call that? Should we call it attractive force between masses that's proportional to the square? Should we call it that? No, let's come up with a better name for it than that. What about, what if we call it George? No, I don't like George. What if we call it Michael? Nah, I tell you what, why don't we call it gravity? Yeah, that's a good name for that phenomenon. Instead of saying all the big things, let's just say, oh yeah, that's what we expect from gravity. Gravity is the name of the phenomenon. It is what is going on. That's what we expect gravity to do. It's just the name of it. That's it.
Okay, so if a skydiver jumps out of a plane, gravity, he's not free falling, it's gravity.
Gravity is why he is free falling.
But you just said that's the name given for the acceleration. So now it's not the name given for the acceleration. That's the name of the phenomenon. No, the name for the phenomenon. The name for the phenomenon is called acceleration.
What? No, the phenomenon that's causing that is called gravity. That's what we're saying.
Then
acceleration is happening because F equals ma, right? Because there's an attractive force like we discussed, and because F equals ma, gravity is the cause of that acceleration. So gravity is the cause of the things accelerating. Because gravity creates a force that is proportional to the masses.
Okay.
F equals ma.
Okay. So
very simple.
So let's put this.
Bit like you.
I'm going to try this. I'm just trying to say this again. So a skydiver accelerating to the ground is not gravity; it's acceleration. You're saying gravity causes that acceleration. So therefore, you have to give
that phenomenon is called gravity,
scientific hypothesis and experiment for the gravity causing this acceleration.
Yeah, if gravity is causing that, then there will be an attractive force between masses. that is proportional to the square to the
No,
particle
we've
mass
already-
is proportional to the square distance between them. That is what gravity is. That phenomenon, that thing happening, we describe that entire thing as gravity.
Why are you contradicting yourself, though?
I'm not
Guy, I'm sorry, can we take a 5-minute prelude just so I can quickly stick my generator off to get onto the rail power again?
Yeah, sure. No worries.
You can talk to your guys like for 5 minutes, just so I can quickly go in 2 minutes. Just got to quickly put the generator off. But this is fun. Sorry guys, I've got to quickly just put the generator off and put the real power on. I'll be back in like try 2-3 minutes. I'll see you guys now. Really enjoying the show, guys. And if you haven't already, please share the show and hit the likes. I'll see you guys now.
Who's this Gregory Burlington in the chat says that he wants to debate me and like I'm scared of him. Gregory, if you're a real Flerf, then, you know, just contact me and I'll debate you, because I don't ever step away from debates with flat earthers. I'm not scared, Gregory. If you're not a troll, of course I will debate you. I mean, you must like being embarrassed. Well, guys, so far the super chats and memberships are off the charts. Jiffy Jiffweld for $5 is chatting with Flat Soid on my day off, and it's payday to boot. Thank you very much. And then No Machines $5 says this will be good. Oh yes. And Pat in the chat says, holy crap, just heard Flat Soid summarize how instruments used in submarines to detect the train underwater. Hadouken facepalm protection engaged. Yes. It's density. He never explained how. I barely interrupted him. He interrupted me more. Jiffy Jiffweld for $2 says, Craig, hey Greg, what's 9 add 10? It's a billion. And then he gifts me 21 memberships. Thank you very much, my friend. Jeff Stucco Richards for $2 says, you can't stop at Flat Soid doesn't understand. I can. That's just that. You just stop there, yeah. Eclipse Chris for £5 says, I heard Flat Soid blocked Wolfie before getting the evidence of the test he asked him to do with a compass while flying. I'm 11 frames behind the strip. Jiffy Jiffwell $5. Flat Soid should be put in a submarine to use flat earth methods to navigate. I think OceanGate has a sub he can chart. Oofed. Now Pinion 65 sex. All of the sex. Fudging claims to suit your aims won't change the earth just like those frames. Spitting bars. And then Siggy Sigwald comes along and does his Oprah impression and throws 50 memberships around. Thank you very much. And then Siggy Sigwald gives me 1,000 ARSs. Thank you very much, Siggy. The vice of trying to make things understandable for everyone has the side effect of people not knowing the basics of a specific subject, but cause they read and completely understand an article at quantum mechanics and they morph into Witsit, for example. Ooh, morphing into Witsit, that sounds gross. Thank you, Siggy. You know, it means the world to me, dude. Nancy Milestone 199, hope that knee is better soon, sir. Yeah, I've been off the past couple of days because I fucked my knee and it really hurt. The dog jumped into my daughter, who just like all her weight went onto my knee, and I cried like a little girl. Geekly Gaming 199, someone watched Hunt for Red October recently. And Dave McKeegan for £5. Hey Dave says, how does Flat Soid vibration detector ignore the sub engines or the crew working? Solixis for £5 says, Flat Soid call it pigs in shit or you like, but we call it gravity and it exists. Stop being stubborn and just admit that gravity exists. Gregory, just contact me, email me, or on X, the platform known as Twitter, or Facebook, or Threads, if that's still about, I don't know. Someone give Gregory my email, if you wouldn't mind. Gene Graves, remember, for 5 months, if he wants to claim it's not gravity, he does need to provide proof of how it's density. Yeah, exactly. Geekster for 10 CHF says, FTFE saying where you can get all your citations is giving you citations. Just because you're ignorant as fuck does not mean he can't prove it. Get honest or admit to Toon's first law like you should. Yeah. All the citations are there. I don't need to waste time just showing you them. That's not interesting, is it? You can look at them yourself. Or do you want me to just do a stream reading scientific papers? David Griffin, member for 12 months, that's once around the sun, says typical Flerf method, start a topic then deflect. Yeah, he won't stay on the submarines. DJ Most for €5. So Flatzoid, where can I see you your own research which supports your claims? They include at least notes, formulas, calculations. You're a funny guy. Gregory says that you don't know what I'm getting into debating him. Lol, can't wait. You know how many flat earthers have said that to me, Gregory? Oh, I'm weeping. Dude, I ain't afraid. Bill Tetley. Glad you got the thing, sir. Hey, fight the flat shirt, you sexy beast. Just sending you a fire support and amazing stream once again. All the best and cheers. Thank you for your support, Bill. It means the absolute world, and I'm glad you got your birthday present, dude. OG Yeti for $5. Anyone else wonder what colour of crayon is Flatzoid's favourite? It's always purple. Purple is the crayon of choice for breakfast. Vikunuk, Vic, my favourite Viking, for $6.99 Canadian says, Flatzoid, this horse is truly dead. Please beat it no further. Being this much of a contrarian at this age isn't doing you any favours. Just stop. Siggy Sigweld for 50 ARS says, discussing semantics of language proves the earth is flat. Apparently so. Icy Spin member for 2 months says, can you show Desert File for all time's sakes?
Gravity, you fucking retard! Gravity! Have you ever heard of fucking gravity? Gravity! Gravity!
Never gets old. Judy Bassett, €7. Thank you very much, Judy. Flatzoid listens and thinks like a brick wall. There can be no debate. Kaplunk Steve, member for 2 months, says, I just facepalmed so hard I think I may have broken my jaw. Please see the description for my disclaimer. Stringer News 1 for $2. You first, Flatzoid, show a photo of density. Todd Ferguson, Flerfs. Hello. Right, we'll get back to the super chats in a bit.
Can I quickly read? You know what? You read your super chats quickly. I'll read mine as quickly as well. It's fine.
Okay, I've just got a few more.
2 minutes. Okay, sure.
Todd Ferguson, Flerfs supervisor, member for 5 months, says, Vashley, 1 ping only, Mr. Flatzoid, 1 brain hell only. And then Vic, for another $2.99, says, hey, Flat Dirt, pour me a glass of air, please. Diet air. Heat Shield has been a member for 6 months, because that's halfway around the sun. Says, go, just go, look at Siggy, god damn it. Yeah, Ziggy is the beast. And then Siggy, for 100 ARS, says, FTFE, next time gravity is a property of mass. The effect of it is what we call the force of gravity, or colloquial gravity. That's a good way of saying it. Rachbot, $2 for a lovely sticker. Thank you, Rachy. It means the world for your support, honestly. Big hugs, Rachy. You know you deserve them. Janos Takas, 1,024 huffs. You're defining the same word over and over for an hour now. When will the debate start? Will he show real Saloon pictures of flat Earth? Ciderdyne Big Toe, $4.99 says, do you think the adult Beavis looks like MC Toon? What's me dog barking at? Riker! Emma? Bring Riker in? You guys want to see Riker? Just while Flatzoid reads in his super chats, we get Riker in to say hello. Come here, buddy. Who's a good boy? Eh? Who's a good puppy?
Hey.
Come on and say hello to everybody. I'm just saying hello, getting my doggy to say hello to everybody. Commander Riker's getting big, isn't he, guys? Look at the size of this beast. Say hi, Riker. Mwah. Love you, buddy.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah. Guys, when I got Riker, he was 9.25 pounds, and he's now 17. Sorry, kilos. He was 9.25 kilos, now he's 17 kilos. Big dog.
Is Terry Riker your dog?
Commander Riker.
Okay, so,
right.
Yeah. Where were we?
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
That's all right. So, I guess the best way to describe this to you, Emma, can you come and get him back, please? Thank you. Sorry, right. So the best way to describe this to you is gravity is a property of mass. Right? The effect is what we call the force of gravity. Colloquially, the entire thing is just termed gravity. It's just nuances of the English language. And there really is no need to argue about specifically how the English language works. Those things I've described with the mass creating the attractive force, we just call that shit gravity.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You're saying it is gravity causes it. And then when I ask you to, okay, so how do you observe the gravity causing this? You tell me, no, that is gravity. So you're contradicting yourself because you're saying it causes gravity, but it is gravity.
Yeah, but that entire thing happening, that is gravity. You can call it what you want. You can literally just name it whatever you want, right? But we call that attractive force the force of gravity.
So
because
then you manipulate.
We say that gravity is creating that. But here's the thing, right? And this is the thing that people get really, flat earthers get really excited about, is that we don't know entirely what gravity is or why it does what it does. We don't know all the reasons. What we do know is that there is an attractive force between these masses, right? And it's measurable and it's used in industry, right? We might not know the exact cause of gravity. We that's fine. These are answers we're still looking for because science never claims to have all the answers. But what is going on, whatever is the underlying cause of it, we call that entire phenomenon gravity. It's just what we call it. We don't know what it is. We don't know exactly. Just like years ago, we didn't know what was causing magnetism. We could still measure magnetism. We could still use magnetism, but we didn't really know what magnetism was. Now we do know what magnetism is. And in the future, we might know more about what causes gravity and what gravity is. But right now, we don't have all those answers, but we know that there is an attractive force that can be measured. And the placeholder name, if you like, is gravity.
No, but that's the issue you got. Just because you're saying it is gravity, but you're saying it's gravity that causes gravity, that's the contradiction. You can call it unicorn farts if you want. The problem is you've literally just gave observed phenomena, which would be acceleration. You said the cause of this acceleration is due to the mass, attracting mass, just proportional to its distance. Great, you've
proportional to the mass and inversely proportional to the square of the distance.
To the whatever. So then you've done this. You've isolated the variables, which was the mass and the distances. Great. Now when I tell you, okay, great. So now you have proven you've proven this is the cause for the accelerating mass. Great. Now I say, okay, what's the cause of that acceleration? Because a force is what is required for that acceleration. Now you're saying that force is gravity, or you're saying
it's created by gravity.
Saying gravity causes that force. So that means if it's causing that force, how is gravity causing that force?
I just told you we don't know.
So then you can't claim it to be gravity.
Well, so we couldn't. So what you're saying is we couldn't claim magnetism to be magnetism before we knew what magnetism was.
The magnetism is observable. Gravity
so is gravity.
Not observable.
The effects of magnetism are observable. But so years ago, when we found out these two shiny metal rocks seem to stick to each other, but we didn't know why, we didn't know the cause of it. Did that stop those shiny metal rocks sticking to each other? No. Magnetism still existed when we had no idea what it was or what the cause of it was, right? Great. That's what it is with gravity at the moment, right? We know that there is an attractive force, right? And we don't know exactly what's causing it, but we're calling that phenomenon gravity.
So then we are happy to say then the accelerometers you're claiming gravity, you don't know what gravity is or how it causes it, we can say it's not gravity then.
Well, no, just because, if you can find a replacement,
you don't know what it is.
If you can find something else, right, we don't know exactly what gravity, no one has ever claimed we know exactly what gravity is, right? We can go deeper into Einstein's understanding of it appearing to be, space-time warping, but again, we still don't know what the underlying cause of all that going on is. We don't know. And that's not the point, right? The fact is, we can still measure it. We can still measure this thing. We can still see the effects. And the effects are measured so well that we created a method of navigating billion-dollar submarines using our understanding of that attractive force. Just because we don't know exactly what it is doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Remember, the claim is not that the attractive forces is gravity. The claim is gravity causes these masses to, causes the force for the attraction. So if you're claiming gravity is the cause for this, you have to have the mechanism observed for this to happen.
Could you give me a citation that says we have to? Because
that's how science works.
No, it isn't. Science doesn't ever claim.
What's the first step?
What's the first step of
the scientific method?
Well, of which version of the scientific method?
There's one method. It's a singular method.
No, it's not. There's many versions of the scientific method.
Observe natural phenomena, correct? That's the first step of the
of the basic version of the scientific method you learn at high school. Yes, that is the first part. Yeah. Observe something.
Of the method.
No, again, there's more than one scientific method, just so you know.
No, method is singular, not plural.
Yeah, but again, I mean, I don't know if you weren't aware of this, but there is more than one method. There is more than one scientific method. I mean, the scientific method gets altered and changed for different industries, different aspects of science. There isn't just one version of the scientific method. The basic version that we learn in high school is kind of a guide, but that is just a guide, and there's many more steps and versions of the scientific method depending on the industry. Okay. Maybe you weren't aware of that, but now you are.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you this. There's one method. The versions of the same method doesn't make it many methods. Well, no, there's a difference between plural and there's a difference between singular and plural.
There is different versions of the scientific methods. They are different scientific methods depending on the industry.
It's a singular method.
But there isn't just a singular method in science, though.
The scientific method has all the steps. Now you get people that leave out steps on that method, out any steps, though. creating a version of that method. It's still a singular method. They're just
there's different versions. There is different scientific methods depending on the industry. I didn't know. You obviously weren't aware of that, but now you are aware of that. You've learned something today.
Please bring me up the different methods, please.
Well, it depends on the industry of science.
No, come. You made a claim. Bring me the sources of the different
it's not a claim.
methods.
I'm just telling you something, and now you know that you know it. Again, it's not a claim. It just is how it is. In industry and in science in general, there is more than one version of the scientific method. I get it. You weren't aware of that before, but now you are. It's fine.
It's a
anyway,
method.
Back to what this conversation is about, and that's about gravity gradient navigation of submarines.
It's a singular method.
Well, the basic version you learn in high school is, yeah.
No,
but, some of us went past high school.
Yeah, okay. Now, the singular method has versions of that method.
Well, then that would be different methods, wouldn't it?
No, it's still the same method.
Why do you always take the debates down to, semantic talks? It doesn't really matter. There's different versions of the scientific method. So there's not just the observe, hypothesize, predict, experiment, analyze. That is not it. There is way more than that to science and the scientific method in general.
So you saying you can do science without observing natural phenomena?
I never said that, but I said there are different versions of the scientific method. Why do you like putting words in my mouth?
You just said 2 minutes ago when I said, what is the science? If we don't observe gravity, how can we do it? And you said, no, you don't need to observe it. So you're contradicting yourself once again.
I didn't say that. I didn't say you don't have to observe anything.
It's recorded.
Yeah, I know. And I didn't say you don't have to observe anything for science. I've always said that the first step would be an observation.
Right. So where did we observe gravity then, please?
We observe the effects of gravity.
No,
just like we can observe the effects of magnetism.
You claiming gravity is the cause of the force that causes that acceleration.
Yeah. So again, we don't know what gravity is, but we call that entire phenomenon gravity. Later on down the line, we might be able to figure out exactly what the cause of it is. We don't know right now, but we know that there is an attractive force between the masses. And we are saying that, that's caused by something that we're going to call gravity. Don't know what it is yet, but let's call it gravity. Just like in the past, they could measure an attractive force between things that now we call magnetism and we understand. That doesn't mean that when we didn't know the cause of magnetism, it didn't exist. Just to go back quickly, I'll give you just a few versions of the scientific method. There's the basic version, which you know about, obviously. There's the engineering scientific method, which goes define the problem, background research, specify requirements, brainstorm solutions, choose the best solutions, do development work, test the solution, communications. There's the experimental scientific method, the descriptive scientific method, the theoretical scientific method, the qualitative scientific method, the quantitative scientific method. Different fields and types of research might emphasize different steps or approaches within these general frameworks. So now that you know that there's more than just the basic scientific method, you have extra knowledge.
Sorry, we were talking about natural sciences, correct? Show me
when
where
did we
gravity
say we're talking about natural sciences? And could you explain
observe
what natural sciences?
Is gravity not natural now?
I never said that. But when did we say we were talking about natural sciences?
When we talk about nature,
means, right?
Yeah, when we talk about nature, we're talking about natural sciences.
Yeah, and what does natural mean in science?
Nature, observe natural phenomena.
Yeah, and what does natural specifically mean in science?
Natural.
Yeah.
It's
I don't want the colloquial
synthetic.
definition of
Not
natural.
synthetic.
I would like the scientific definition of
not
of
synthetic.
natural.
Not
Sorry?
synthetic. Not synthetic.
No. Natural in science means anything of physical matter or energy, and that can include
in nature.
That can include mankind, the products of mankind, and human civilization. So
Can you bring up that reference for us, please, on screen so we can see it?
Yeah, I do it all the time. Do I really have to do it again now?
Yes, please.
Why, when I've done it before?
Because I like to see it, please.
I've shown it you before. I've literally shown you this before.
You haven't brought up one thing yet.
All right, anyone, because I don't need to. Anyone can go and look at what natural means in science. Again, we don't need to have an argument about what words mean. That's just what natural means in science. If you didn't know before, now you do.
Okay. Yeah, it just means anything comes from nature, exactly.
No, not anything from... Well, yeah, but mankind is part of nature.
So you say what at your top? What natural means in science?
Yeah, what does natural mean in science?
Within science, the term natural refers to any element of physical universe.
Yep.
Whether made by humans or not, this includes matter and forces that act on matter, energy, and constitutes the biological world, humans, human society, and the products of that society.
Exactly what I just said, yeah.
So not synthetic then?
Well, are the products of human society not synthetic?
No.
So are you saying humans don't make synthetic things?
Okay, I did double speak there, you're right, yeah.
Yeah.
But they use natural, oh, sorry.
Yeah, but look, it literally says the products of human society, right? And that means anything that we make.
Great.
Buildings, plastic, paper, anything of physical matter or energy in the entire universe is considered natural in science.
Okay, I would agree with that. I was wrong there, sorry. But let's go on back to where we were.
Right, before you do that, Flatzoid, I just want to say I very much appreciate what you just did there. All right? Thank you very much for doing that. That is the first time, I think, in these conversations that you have gone, yeah, I was wrong, that you're right. That's just a brilliant conversation, that helped take the conversation forward, and I very much appreciate you doing that.
Okay, thanks. Now, back to the point. So if you can't observe gravity and you don't know what gravity is, how are you able to make the claim that it is gravity doing what you're claiming?
Because that's what we're calling gravity.
But you don't know what it is?
We're saying
you don't observe it?
But yeah,
you don't observe it, you don't know what it is?
But we're saying the entire phenomenon of mass attracting mass, according to what we've discussed, we're just calling that entire phenomenon gravity, right? Just like I explained in the past, we would call the phenomenon of two shiny metal rocks sticking to each other magnetism, but we might not have known what magnetism was or what the cause of it is. But that doesn't mean that it's not science. We are at the point in science with gravity where we're trying to figure out exactly what it is. But what we do know is that there's an attractive force between these things, and we are calling that phenomenon gravity.
Okay, maybe I can do it this way. with magnetism, even before we knew what it was, we could observe it.
No, we could observe the effects of it.
Gravity's observed, mate. You can take
the effects of gravity is observed, right?
It attracts each other. That's observed. Okay? You are claiming gravity is not observable. You don't know what it is, and you're just giving it gravity causes gravity, which is a contradiction in itself. That's what I'm asking. So how can you How can you take something? How can you take something that you don't know what it is? It's not observable, and you just circular reasoning by saying it is gravity that creates gravity. How can you just claim that? That's just circular reasoning. Again,
we're not doing any circular reasoning. We are saying, here's the phenomenon. This is physically happening. There is a force that makes mass attract mass, all right? And that is proportional to the product of those masses, inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. And we are just calling that entire thing, that phenomenon, that process, we're just saying that's gravity. You know, and that's what it is. You know, that's just the name that we have given that thing. So, but the cause of it, the exact cause of gravity, yet we don't know. We can observe the effect. Hold on, let me finish. We can observe the effects of gravity. The effects of gravity is that there's this attractive force, just like the effects of magnetism is the attractive force between them. We can't observe magnetism itself. We can observe the effects of magnetism, just like we observe the effects of gravity. You can call it what you want. It doesn't matter. It's gravity.
Where are we observing the effects of gravity, please?
The mass attracting mass. That's an effect of gravity.
No, that's acceleration.
You literally said if there's acceleration, then there's a force because there's mass, and we are calling that entire phenomenon. We are calling that entire phenomenon the acceleration, the attractive force, all of it. That entire phenomenon is just called gravity.
Okay, would you?
What would you like to name it? What would you like to name it, Flatzoid?
Okay, would you give me 1 minute just to make a statement?
Well, yeah, but just tell me first. What would you like? What would you like to name it instead? If you don't want to call it gravity, what do you want to call it?
Okay, just give me 1 full minute, then I can just give my statement out. Okay, so you can maybe try and understand, because this is going to go in circles the whole time. Okay, you are claiming when we see an acceleration like a skydiver falling to the ground, it's mass. You would say the cause is the mass attracted to mass, inversely proportional to its distance or whatever. Great. Now you figured out the cause for that acceleration, which requires a force. You then made a claim that the force which is causing this acceleration is gravity. You can't now say the acceleration between the masses is gravity if you're saying the force is caused by gravity, which causes this. So gravity can't cause gravity if you don't even know what gravity is and you've never been able to observe it. Now, the problem you also fall with is, based on today's science, quote-unquote science, which isn't science, it's not a force, so you can't claim it to be a force anyway, and it's not observable because it's in the fourth dimension. So you sit with a catch-22 problem here. You don't know what gravity is. You claim it to be a force which causes the acceleration, not a force at the same time. That's not observable because it's in the fourth dimension.
I didn't ever claim that gravity is a force. Please stop putting those words in my mouth. Gravity.
So what causes the acceleration then?
Whatever is causing gravity. Gravity is the thing that is causing the acceleration. So gravity is an umbrella term like magnetism. Thank you, Rumpus. Just as there is the force of magnetism, there is a force of gravity. Gravity also has acceleration due to gravity and bending of space-time. These are all terms related to the phenomenon that we refer to as gravity. Gravity, again, is just an umbrella term for all of this stuff going on. You can call it whatever you like, but we call it gravity, and we have predictions as to what we think gravity should do, and it matches those predictions. We don't know. why it happens. We don't know why mass appears to attract mass or warp space-time, creating acceleration, apparently have this attractive force. We don't know. We're working on that shit. But it doesn't mean we can't measure and experiment with it.
So not gravity then?
Yeah, well, we call it, you can call it whatever you like, but we call it gravity.
So, remember, what is F equals ma?
It's the very basic principle of physics.
Force. So you require force, which equals a mass to accelerate.
Yes, we know that F equals ma.
Great. So if you're claiming a mass is accelerating due to a force, and you're claiming this is due to gravity, you are claiming gravity to be a force, correct?
No, gravity creates a force.
So then you have to go and present gravity creating a force. So observe natural phenomena for gravity. Observe natural phenomena for gravity creating a force.
No, you're doing the scientific method backwards now.
No, observe natural phenomena.
No. You don't go. Oh, right. So I'm looking into gravity. Let's start the scientific method and go. Oh, observed phenomenon for gravity. No, that's not what happens. With the scientific method, you start with the basic version of the scientific method. Anyway, you start with an observation, and then you go. Well, I think it might be this. Let's see if I'm right by making a prediction and experimenting on that. Okay. What you've done for this entire discussion is get away from the fact that everything that we understand about gravity has allowed us to create a real-time navigation method that works in the real world. You can call it whatever you like. We call it gravity. One thing that I would really like you to explain, though, is you claimed that the accelerometers on board the submarines were reacting to density of objects that are nowhere near them. Can you please explain the mechanism that would cause that to happen?
Sorry, reversal of burden of proof doesn't.
No. That was your claim. You claimed that it was density. Your claim is that it's density making it happen.
No. The claim is that it's gravity. Sorry, the claim is it's the gravity that's causing the accelerometers to show.
We've done that. Yeah. So, but your claim was that it's density.
Sorry.
Did you not claim that it was density causing those accelerometers to move?
No, I said that's what you said on the reference.
It didn't. The reference didn't say that the accelerometers moved to density. No, it didn't.
Okay, so I'm gonna say again. You just said you don't know what gravity is.
Yeah, no one knows what gravity is.
Never observed gravity, yet you can say what gravity does.
Yes, because we can observe the effects of it. Yeah.
No. You can't. Gravity's not a force, and acceleration requires a force.
Gravity creates a force. Stop strawmanning me.
So then you have to tell us how gravity creates a force if gravity
We don't know yet. We're working on that.
Then you can't claim it does.
Well, we call that attractive force gravity.
You can't claim it does. I can claim Superman built my house. Just because I said
Have you got any measurements of that? No, you don't have measurements of that. We have measurements of the attractive force that's created between things, and we just say that the thing that's creating that is gravity. Don't know what gravity is yet. We're still working on that.
Again, you've never observed gravity.
We've observed the effects of it.
You claim it's not a force. You've claimed it's not a force.
It creates a force.
Yet you require a force.
Yeah, the force created by gravity. The force of gravity. Yeah, no problem.
To cause So gravity is a force now?
It creates a force.
How?
Don't know.
So then how can you make the claim if you don't know?
Because we're still figuring that out, but that attractive force...
Then don't make that claim.
We are currently... We don't know what creates that attractive force. We don't know what it is. We are currently calling it gravity. We might come up with a better name in the future, right? In the future, gravity might not be part of the discussion because we figure out it's something else. But right now... Using science, we say that, well, we think that this is gravity, and we think that gravity does this. But science doesn't ever have all the answers. We don't know everything, and we never will know everything, because science never claims to be complete. Right now, we are calling it gravity. I forgive you. You don't need to keep saying sorry. I absolutely forgive you. Right now, we are calling it gravity. We don't know what causes gravity. But we know that there is an
it's not
attractive
science.
force between... That is science. Science never says that we have to have all the answers.
Sorry, science requires a IV and DV.
Yeah,
and
IV and DV is no problem. Attractive force would be DV and IV would be the distance and mass. There's no problem there.
No, sorry. You said a thing accelerating would be the DV. The cause for
No, I
this
didn't.
acceleration is, yes, if a skydiver is falling,
I said
that's
the attractive
accelerating.
force would be a DV.
That's a DV. That's the DV. That's the
No, I said the attractive force would be the DV.
The attractive force is not the DV. You said the guy
Yeah,
falling, the acceleration.
No, I didn't. I never said that the guy falling was the DV. That's something that you've said. I've always said that the attractive force between masses, i.e. the attractive force between the skydiver and the Earth, is the DV.
No, acceleration, correct? So an acceleration is the DV then?
No, the
Is the guy
attractive
falling?
the attractive force between the Earth and the guy is the DV.
No, that's acceleration.
No, you can.
Does the guy accelerate
There
when he
is
jumps out of the
acceleration.
plane?
There is acceleration, but the dependent variable is the attractive force between the person and the Earth. And this attractive force is dependent on the product of the mass of the person and the Earth, and is inversely proportional to how far away the person from the Earth is. So as the person gets closer to the Earth, the attractive force actually increases.
Okay, now I'm confused.
I know you are. I know you are. It's no worries.
Yeah, yeah, but there's all the contradictions.
No contradictions.
So
Just because you don't understand it doesn't make it a contradiction.
Okay, again, so let's make this straight. So when a guy jumps out of the airplane,
Yep.
are you observing him to accelerate?
Yeah, you would definitely
Or are you
accelerate.
just... So the observation, the DV is acceleration.
You could have DV as acceleration, but I like to use the attractive force as the DV.
Sorry, you're not observing attractive force, you're observing acceleration, correct?
That's nothing to do with you don't have an IV and a DV in your observation.
Yes, you do.
No, you
IV
have
is
that
the
in your
cause for the
hypothesis,
object.
not in your. You don't have an IV
When
and a DV in an observation, Flatzoid.
Show
Wow.
me a high. Sorry, if I look at the skydiver falling, I observe him falling.
No, you
okay?
observe him accelerating.
There's an IV and DV in what I'm observing. I go and make a
Right, okay,
hypothesis.
that's a lovely claim. How about you show me the citation that says there has to be an IV and a DV in an observation?
Dude,
go on then.
Don't misrepresent me. So
That's what you just said.
with-
I'm not. You
Why are
literally
you
just said the
overtalking
words
me again?
that the observation needs an
Listen,
IV and a DV.
listen,
You just said
listen.
that.
Listen, when I observe something, I have to go and see, okay, I see a guy falling. Okay? The IV and DV is there. I have not worked out what the IV and DV is yet, but I'm observing
You
it.
don't have
My
an IV and a DV in your observation. That comes in a hypothesis and an experiment.
Listen to my words.
I listen to your
see a
words and
guy-
you're talking nonsense.
If you-
There is no
if you can-
IV and DV in an observation.
If you can stop talking for more than 2 seconds, then I can maybe get my
Dude, you've
statement
interrupted
out.
me way more than I've interrupted you today.
Have you seen my board?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
you
know.
can't see my
It's
board.
quite funny because I've been marking my own
Those are
thing down
tensed.
here, and
Those
you've
are
interrupted me
tensed.
way more than I've interrupted you.
Okay, so
Like, how many
again,
times have you
when
gone,
I-
sorry, whilst I'm trying to talk?
When we go again and a guy is falling, let's say a skydiver
Accelerating.
jumping out of an airplane.
Yeah.
Okay? He's jumping out, he's falling. Now,
He's accelerating.
you can observe this. You can observe this as he's accelerating or he's falling. You are choosing now.
Well, no, you would
what
only observe
your-
accelerating. I don't. Falling would indicate he's
Falling.
going at the same rate, which would only happen when he reaches terminal velocity.
Ever heard of a straw man before? Anyway,
That. In what way
you
is
can
that a
say,
straw man?
is he floating or
I
falling?
don't know what straw
The
means.
skydiver. Is the guy floating or is he falling when he's jumping out the plane?
He's accelerating towards the ground until he reaches terminal velocity.
Would that be falling, Craig?
I mean, you colloquially could describe that as falling, but he's definitely accelerating.
So it's the same thing. So they stop playing semantic games. The guys.
Oh
falling,
yeah, it's not
okay?
nice, is it, when you play
So-
semantic games? Because
so-
that's literally what you do the entire
You
time.
seem to be getting triggered because you keep
Triggered,
contradicting
dude.
yourself.
I'm
So anyway,
laughing like fuck.
Yeah, because your cognitive pain. Yeah, he's running. He's trying to.
Cognitive
yeah.
pain. That's a new one.
Okay,
Well done.
so, can you maybe keep quiet for a few seconds so I can give my statement again? Would it be fine? Okay. So when the guy jumps out of the plane, you observe him to be falling or accelerating as you want to. Okay. There is an IV and a DV in this observation. You don't know what it is yet, because you have to have a cause for the effect observed. That guy falling or accelerating is the effect you observed. Now, when you create your hypothesis...
You're just making up your own science here.
Sorry. Now, when you make your hypothesis, you want to figure out the cause for that effect observed, aka the DV. Yeah, the guy falling or accelerating is the DV. So when you make the cause for that falling, which you said was mass attracting mass, which is inversely or whatever proportional to the masses and distance, you made a prediction based on a cause for what you observed in nature. Now, if you're claiming to have validated that hypothesis, we've done the experimentation, the mass attracts mass, great. Now, you say gravity is not a force, but gravity causes that. Where did you observe gravity to be able to make the claim that it causes that? That's my issue.
But the effect of gravity is that there's an attractive force between masses. We're just saying that it's called gravity. That's the effect.
No.
We observed the effect, and this effect we call gravity. But just in the meantime, could I please get a citation for this version of science you just made up?
I don't need to give a citation. That's what you see in reality. Do you see the guy falling?
I'm not asking about reality. You've just claimed that is the scientific method, that you have to have an IV and a DV in your observation.
In a hypothesis.
No. You said in your observation. Don't change what you said now.
Why are you misrepresenting me?
Not misrepresenting. You specifically said that there's an IV and a DV in your observation. Could I please see a citation that says that there's an IV and a DV in your observation?
Craig, how would the guy be accelerating if there was no IV? His acceleration is the DV.
Again, could I please see a citation that says that there has to be an IV or a DV in an observation?
Dude, listen to what I'm saying.
I've listened, and I would just like you to back up what you've said.
You are really starting to piss me off now. You're being rude. If you see...
How am I being rude?
If you see an observation, there was a cause for that observation. In other words, there is an IV, aka a cause, for the observed phenomena you observe, aka a DV. So you don't know what that IV is, but you know what the DV is because you're observing it. I see the guy accelerating, so therefore I go to the drawing board, I create a hypothesis and say, what caused this guy to accelerate? Yeah, now I'm scientifically literate. You guys have just seen live our guy that contradicted himself all night.
I've not contradicted myself once. Hey, can we just address your chat a sec and the ones that think I hit women?
Ooh, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I hit women, really. If you're referring to the thing that I got charged for, poking a woman with my walking stick when she came at me screaming and swearing, then sure, I guess you could say I hit women. If defending myself is by lifting up my walking stick is hitting women. But more importantly, I would like to ask your chat why they're being misogynists and think that hitting women is something special. Should women not be treated the same as men? If a woman is attacking you, should you not be able to defend yourself? Are all of your chat very sexist? This is a question I would like to put to your chat.
I wouldn't agree with you there. I would have to treat a woman differently because a woman is definitely doesn't have the same hormone level as a testosterone as a guy. Although you do get women that can beat the guy to a pulp if you wanted to.
So what you're saying is if there's a woman attacking you, you shouldn't defend yourself.
And there's a difference between defending yourself and using a weapon to harm them.
And I didn't use a weapon to harm them. I lifted up my walking stick and poked her away.
I'm not saying you did. I'm not saying you did. This is
so
just
let me ask you, Flatzoid. A woman cuts you up at a roundabout as you drive in, and you both get out of the car at a gas station, right? And you politely go to that woman and you say, "Look, I don't know if you realised, but you cut me up there." And then this woman starts screaming at you, calling you all sorts of names. And then really angrily comes towards you. You don't know what's going to happen. You've got a walking stick in your hand, and would you find it okay, morally, to lift that walking stick up to stop the woman coming towards you?
Well, I have never been in that experience, but I mean, if she was very provocable and you had to just lift it up, as you say, just to stop her from actually getting to you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was never in that situation, but I don't really get out of cars to stop people, just to be honest.
I mean, I was getting my fuel anyway, and so we just both happened to pull into the same gas station, and then an argument ensued. She came towards me screaming and stuff, and I lifted up my walking stick and technically poked her, which was classed as assault. She got charged with threatening and abusive behaviour, causing fear and alarm. I got charged with some kind of minimal assault and was like, I think £100 I had to pay. But, you know, the people that are going around right now saying that I beat women, I find that fucking hilarious.
Okay, but yeah, anyway, we're just obfuscating straight from the point again about...
I know, I just wanted to address your chat and the things that they were saying, and wondering why all your chat is so misogynist and sexist is strange.
Okay, so you would agree then if it would be unfair of me if I took the same observations you did of gravity and said, sorry, it's not gravity, it's... let's say relative density to equilibrium.
Well, if you can then make a prediction based on what you say relative density disequilibrium
I'll use the same mass. I'll use exactly the same mass as your gravity.
So you're just calling gravity something different, right?
Listen, I can just call it that. I haven't observed it whatsoever. I don't know what it is. I can't tell you what it is. I'm just going to make maths and say all my circular reasoning means it's real, correct? Would that be fair?
Right. If you had all of the maths and everything that matches what is going on in reality, right? If you want, you can call it relative density disequilibrium, all right? But as you're using all the same maths and everything that we would use for gravity, it's just calling the same thing by a different name. It doesn't matter what you call it. Let's call it Harold, okay? Let's say that Harold is the cause of the attractive force between these masses, all right? Harold is the thing that's causing it. How is Harold causing it? I don't fucking know. I have no idea. But I can see it's happening, and I'm saying that Harold's causing it. But in the future, I might find out actually that it's Vanessa causing it, and Vanessa was just influencing Harold in a certain way, and Harold was just part of what was going on, right? But it was actually Vanessa that was the deep cause of it. But then I might find out later on that it was actually Vanessa's mum that was forcing Vanessa to tell Harold to do something. You know, we don't know, and we will find out more in the future, I'm sure.
Great. So then you have to take this with a logical standpoint. How do you have the right to make a claim that it is gravity that's doing anything if you, first of all, can't observe it, you don't know what it is, you don't know how it works, anything, you've just made math to appease your circular reasoning of your faith in that. Don't you think that's a bit unfair?
No, there's no circular reasoning. What we do is we observe something happening. There is something happening.
So now you did observe it.
Hold on. Yeah, I have absolutely observed something. I observed an attraction between things. I observed things accelerating towards the ground. These are observations that I make. Well,
which is not gravity. You just said
again. That's my observation. Is that happened? My hypothesis is that that's being caused by something called gravity, or Harold, if you want. And Harold causes an attraction between masses that is, as I've explained. But that's just what we're calling it. Again, we don't know exactly what it is. We're just saying that is the cause of what's going on. We don't know what it is. That will be later on. But we know there is something going on. There is an attractive force between masses that is measurable. And we are just calling that the force of gravity. It might be something else in the future. We don't know. Because science is a progress.
Great. So if you're claiming it to be a force, and gravity based on current science, quote unquote, is not a force,
I never
you then
claimed
have
it
to
was a
throw
force.
away your whole argument that it is F equals ma. Thank
But
you
I
very
never
much.
claimed gravity is a force. Gravity creates a force.
So then it has to be a force. You would agree.
No,
you'd
it doesn't.
require a force to
Is an
create
engine
a
a
force.
force?
That's a total
No,
non sequitur.
it isn't. Right. Is an engine a force? Yes or no?
A engine required to move requires a force. Yes.
No. Is an engine
For
a
an engine
force?
to
Yes or
function.
no?
A non sequitur. A engine
No, it's
to
not a non
function
sequitur. Come on,
requires
just
a
work
force.
with me here 1 second. Is an engine a force? Yes or no?
No, because it's a
Well,
non
okay.
sequitur.
And does an engine create a force? Yes or no?
No.
An engine doesn't create a force.
No.
Are you sure?
Yes, the mechanics behind the engine function creates the force.
Yeah,
mate.
that is the engine.
itself-
The engine is the thing that is
engine-
creating that force. The pistons
Sorry.
within the engine reacting to the fuel when they're moving. That is the engine.
So I have to input a force to create more forces, correct? To have a chain reaction. The engine is just the thing as a whole. The engine doesn't create a force.
The engine
Great.
definitely creates a force.
Oh, really? Okay. Show me.
Are-
show me an
is
engine
there or is
creating
there
a
not
force,
tiny
please.
explosions inside of an engine?
Inside engine? So it's not the engine causing
Yeah,
it.
the engine,
Combustion.
that method, that thing going on, that is the engine. The engine
No,
working
no.
creates that force. Oh my fucking god.
Okay, so combustion is an engine now. Is that what you're telling me?
Nope. An engine creates combustion, which creates a force.
No.
Are you telling me an
fuel
engine
and
doesn't
air
create
mixture-
combustion by compressing the fuel and adding a spark?
Fuel and air mixture creates the combustion in a cylinder inside the engine. Let's take a hole.
you've missed
Let's
something.
make
I
a
mean-
hole. Let's make a hole in the cylinder. Will the engine function, Craig?
Not as well.
Okay, let's add no fuel. Will the engine function, Craig?
Not as well.
No, it won't function.
Yeah.
There won't be
But
any
the engine,
force.
once you put the fuel in there, the engine creates the force.
I said no fuel.
Yeah.
Or how
but
about no spark?
The engine is still the thing that makes the force. Because you put
Well,
all
how
the
about no
things into
spark?
the engine, and then the engine works and creates the force. If the engine wasn't working, there would be no force in the car.
Sorry, do you understand the engine is a whole bunch of different components together?
Yes,
to
and the
make it
engine
work and function?
working creates a force. Now you can go deeper than that. You can go deeper
An
and you can
engine
go, well,
doesn't create a force.
you can go deeper
Craig.
than that. You can go deeper than that. You can go, right. So why is the engine creating a force? Well, the engine's creating a force because there's combustion and a cycle of air coming in and exhaust being pushed out and fuel coming in and being compressed. So why does that make the force? Oh, well, we can go deeper than that and we can look at the chemical elements of the fuel and go, well, the fuel actually has these components in it that are combustible under certain conditions. We can go even deeper than that, and then we can look into the atomic structure if you want, and deeper and deeper and deeper. But on the base level, the engine in the car makes the car go. The engine is the thing in the car that makes the force.
Okay, so if I take the engine out of the car and I stick the car on a downhill and let it freewheel, did the engine cause the car to go forward now?
No, that would be gravity.
No, that wouldn't be gravity. Remember, you said you don't know what gravity is. Gravity's not a force.
Gravity creates a force.
Listen. You require a force for an acceleration.
Yeah, and
You
gravity creates a force,
specifically. So then, based on gravity creating a force, you have to tell me what gravity is and how it did that.
Why do we? Can you please give me a citation that says I have to do that?
Yes, because you made a claim.
Yeah, no, but can you give
Or
me a
backing it up.
citation that says in science I have to tell you how everything works all the time?
In science, the main principle is to figure a cause for an effect.
Yeah, and we're
observed.
still trying to
You
figure
see-
out that cause.
But you haven't even observed it to figure out that
We've
cause,
observed the
Craig.
effects
That's
of
the whole
it,
issue.
and we're trying to figure out why that happens.
You just said you'd never observed it. How can
We've
you
observed the
say
effects
you've
of it. I've said that many times.
No, you've observed an acceleration.
Yeah, which is an
You
effect of
are-
gravity, yeah.
You're placing circular reasoning.
No, there's no circular reasoning. Gravity is why these things happen. We just don't know what gravity really is yet.
Then you don't know. Then you can't claim it if you don't know what it is. You haven't observed it.
All of these things match the predictions of what we say gravity should do.
Again, circular reasoning doesn't make gravity real.
Right. We say whether you say it's real or not, we have predictions that are based around what we say gravity should do, and those predictions always work out. Specifically in gravity gradient navigation done by submarines. The gravity gradient navigation done by submarines applies all of our knowledge of gravity and a lot of our knowledge of engineering and puts them together to make a useful, real-world technology that is used every single day. You can call it whatever you like, but we, normal people that understand physics and science, we call it gravity. We say that gravity is the reason these things happen. Gravity is the colloquial umbrella term for the force of gravity, the acceleration due to gravity. All these things are just part of the overarching phenomenon of gravity, which is still under scientific investigation. Simple as that.
You do know that if you had to go to a normal person and tell them, just believe me on what this is, and they ask you, okay, where did you get this information based on this? And you tell them, I don't know, I've never seen it. I've never seen it. I've never been able to observe it. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I've never, all we're saying is, I see an acceleration, and therefore I say it's this because I have to say it's this. Therefore
no, because it matches our predictions.
Now I'm making maths based on this belief system, have the circular reasoning logic based on it, so therefore it has to be what I claim it to be. Do you know the person will look at you like you're insane?
No, they would. If they understood science, they would go, "Oh, right, okay, all right then, if you say so." And maybe if they then studied science, they'd understand what we were talking about. But I mean, and I don't want this to come out nastily, Flatzoid, but you've never studied science, so you obviously wouldn't understand the nuances of science.
Sorry. Usually, person does science when you go through school, correct?
Okay, you've never studied science in higher education.
And yet I have to teach you what science is.
Well, you really don't have to teach me because you're wrong about everything you say. I tried to teach you. I mean, if you ask any scientist in the world which one of us is right, they're going to say me. If you ask people that work in the industry that uses gravity who's right, they're going to say me. If you ask the people that use gravity and the knowledge of gravity to find minerals underwater and underground, which one is right, they're going to say me. You can say what you like. You can say, oh, we don't think that's gravity. I don't like calling that gravity. All you like. It doesn't change the fact that that's what we are calling it. Later down the line, we might have a much better explanation as to exactly what causes it. Right now, we know there's an attractive force between masses, and we say that is caused by gravity. Simple.
That's false.
Now, I think that this conversation has gone round in circles more than enough. It's probably time to end it there.
Yeah, but one more point, though. By the way, I just have to say, if you knew what a scientist was, you wouldn't be saying what you just said. Secondly,
I know what a scientist is, and it's not what
gravity,
you think.
And gravity is not a force, because if you say
Never
gravity
said it was.
is a force...
Gravity creates a force.
Again, according to Einstein, there is no force. It's only a mathematical construct observing the fourth dimension.
Einstein never said it's only a mathematical construct, and according to what Einstein said, gravity creates a force.
Nope, it didn't.
Oh, yeah, no, if you take everything that Einstein actually said and did the maths, you find out that gravity creates a force. Because we absolutely know 100% that Einstein's tensor equations around gravity break down to Newton's law of universal gravitational attraction under local conditions, showing that they're exactly the same thing. So anyway, Flatzoid, I want to say thank you for allowing me on. I really do appreciate it. I'd love to continue this another time, but it's like 11 o'clock and I have to go to the gym in the morning, okay?
Okay. Thank you very much.
No worries. This was actually for us not a bad conversation.
But I did enjoy it, thanks.
Yeah, me too. And to all of the guys on your side that are calling me a woman beater, blah, 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 blah. I'd just like to remind you all that Nathan Oakley got fired from his job at Cord Electronics for fighting with the manager after stealing one of their cars.
Okay.
Anyway, good night.
So yeah,
I'll
thanks
catch
for
you all
coming.
later.
Cheers, mate. Enjoy
See you
the
later.
rest of the
Bye.
evening, yeah.
Wowzers. Oh my god, he is aggressively ignorant, right? Wow, I have so many super chats. Alright, we got to... Vikunuk, good old Vic. Thank you very much, Vic, who says for $2.79, hey Flat Dirt, pour me a glass of air, please, diet. And Heat Shield says, go, just do it, look at Siggy, goddammit, and then posts a link. Yeah, Siggy, thank you, dude, you're insane. Talking about Siggy, he gives me 100 ARSs, not really sure what ARSs are. Argentino peso equals? I'm not sure. Well, thank you very much, Siggy. For 100 ARSs, FTFE, next time gravity is a property of mass, the effect of what we call force of gravity or colloquial gravity. Yeah, he didn't get it. Where do we get to? Kaplunk Steve for £5 says, was watching Flat Soid streams just to laugh at until they compared transgender to terrorism. And at that point, I refused to give him a view. Yeah, that's not nice. Britannia Johnson, member for 3 months, says, in the town where I was born, lived a man who sailed the sea, and he told us of his life in the land of submarines. We all live in a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine. There you go, that's all you're getting. Siggy Sigwald for 4,000 ARSs. I'm honestly starting to think that the issue is that Flatzoid doesn't think in English, and that's why he doesn't understand its meaning. Only understands the term it translates to whatever language he speaks. I was just trying to learn English, I had the same issue. Still do. I mean, there's still a chance he's just a moron. Well, you know, Siggy, you are right. Shovelhead Steve for $2 says, Flatzoid is a fucking moron. Not my words, but hey. Pardon me. Huge Arse, been a member for 18 months, says, Huge Arse is my favourite planetoid. You've got to admire Flatzoid's total commitment to stupidity. He does stick to it hard, doesn't he? OG Yeti gifted 5 memberships. Thank you very much. That takes up to 105 members today. Geekstar for 28 CHF says, does he have more than one point? No. No. Jiffy Jeffwell, $5 says, science doesn't have all the answers. Flat Earth has no answers whatsoever. I know which one I trust more. Yes. Science. Warboss, member for 7 months, says, wah! Good orc, well done. PhD Tony, the only real man in the room, says for $5 Australian, Flatzoid seems not to understand the distinction between a guy jumping out of a plane and a formal experiment into gravitational effects. Tony, the first 5 words of that super chat were all you needed. Flatzoid seems not to understand. Okay? And then Siggy Sigwald for another 100 ARS says this whole debate should be turned into one of those this is your brain on meth ads. Whoop whoop. Big fish, little fish, cardboard box. Big fish, little fish, cardboard box. Icy Spin for $1.99 says Vanessa's mum has got it going on. Stacey's mum's got issues, right? Because Stacey's mum has got it going on. She came out with just a towel on and stuff, right? But so she came out to the pool area with just a towel on when she knew that like 14, 15-year-old kid would be mowing the lawn, right? I think we need to worry. Stacey's mum needs to be on a list, guys. Siggy Sigwell for 50 RS says, this is one of those you don't need to know how the engine works to drive the car things, right? Yeah, he just doesn't know is the answer. Warboss for 10 Canadian dollars says, oi, boss! Why them Flerfs act so sly, distracting from the topic, making us sigh? They weak, no doubt, need tricks to survive. Let me crump them all in a righteous drive. There's a fucking orc spitting bars. PhD Tony for $5 says, an acceleration does not require a force. That is the whole point of relativity. An acceleration may be a frame of reference artifact. Okay, so Flatzoid, what you've just said is my hand. Okay? So I'm Flatzoid. What Tony just said is my hand. You get it? That's, yeah. Lol Watt for $5 says, Sir Arthur Eddington would like to have a word with Flatzoid. Hashtag Dunning-Kruger. Ted Lacoca for $1.99 says, how many scientists do you think Flatzoid knows? Idiot. None. I know a lot of scientists. Nera Colbin, member for 7 months, says, evening Craig, keep up the great work, thank you very much. I most definitely will. MB £5 says, oh my freaking gods, what the fuck, I'm pretty sure I have some permanent face palming damage. Please read the description for my disclaimer. Andrew Garner for 1 month has been a member, and he says, Flatzoid once bought a whiteboard and returned it because the chalk wouldn't work. Hugh Jarse, $7.99 Australian, says, yay, we got to the best part of the stream, the bit where the stupid stops. That's always the fun part. And then Dave McKeegan says, for £2, you got me into Flat Earth, and I caused this. Now we're even. Dave, we're never going to be even because, you know, I got you into Flat Earth, and I don't think we can ever be even for that. You know, you have every right to hate me and you know, throw things at my head when you see me. It's a Rubik's, who's been a member for 18 months, says, for 8 months rather, says, Flatzoid thinks you're asking trick questions. That's just because he doesn't understand them. And then Glober Mum, hello Glober Mum, for 19 months she's been a member, and she says, Flatzoid, he's our man. If he can't win top left next year, no one can. I think Flatzoid should definitely be up there. Jeekster for 5 CHF says, Dave McKeegan, you're going to debate Flerfs on optics and photography on FTFE channel one day, please? Yeah, I really want to set that up between Dave and Flatzoid. It'd be fucking amazing. Well, that was a fun stream, guys. Tomorrow night, I will be here debating Al Truther. I mean, you saw him on Toon's channel, right? So there's only one way this can go. This is tomorrow. This is what it's going to be like. Oh, you know what, guys? Can we just pretend? I don't know. Like, somewhat stupid. Like, you know, airplanes in the night sky. They're like shooting stars or something. I don't know. What do you reckon? Is it possible? He says as he tries to find the thing. Siggy Sigward for 100 ARSs. I think for me, facepalming is the first reaction. After a few years of listening to these debates, I've moved past that now, and I just lol. That's right. You got to laugh, haven't you? Oh, it broke. There we go.
Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars? Should be wishing for a brain right now, brain right now, brain right now.
Good morning. These words come with a storm warning. Better batten down the hatches, grab some matches and brace yourself for a long day of misery. YouTube has given me the power to reach up into the sky and show you all that we live on the ball. I bring you science that's comprehensible. Your view is indefensible. You're reprehensible. Go on, Mr. Sensible. When I was young, I never thought I would be here to see this. A pile of random nonsense dressed up as bullshit. Your ignorance will be the death of us all, like running head first full speed into a wall. You could always read a book, buy a telescope, set it up and take a photo of the moon, or just be a buffoon. I sent you in a balloon up to the stratosphere on page 3.
You're a few fries short of a happy meal. You're dumber than a box of hair. The wheel's spinning but the hamster's dead, and you're as smart as bait. You forgot to pay your brain bill. You're missing a few buttons on the remote control. 24 cents short of a quarter. You're surfing in Nebraska. You're as bright as Alaska in December, and you fell out of your family tree. You don't have all the cornflakes in one box. You got an IQ of 2 and it takes 3 to grunt. The elevator doesn't go all the way up, and there's a vacancy on the top floor. Your antenna doesn't pick up all the channels. You're several nuts short of a fruitcake.
You're Mr. Sensible, calm down, don't go too hard. You don't need the Librarian Flerfs in your backyard. You're a man of science, poison grace. Mage 2 did everything to wipe the grins off the face. So Nathan, get away from those kids. The world is not flat and it doesn't have a lid. Recognise the differences between the textbook and the Bible and control yourself. Lay off your slander and your lies. You're a bunch of knobs poisoning the well of the youth, spreading lies that you like to claim as knowledge and truth. Stop spreading fresh bullshit like the butter on your bread. Maybe a musical assault will knock some sense into your head. I hope one day you'll hear these lyrics and smile, and you realise you used to be a 40-year-old child. Now it's time to wake up, open your eyes and see, and acknowledge the existence of
gravity! You're a few clowns short of a circus. Your phone is off the hook. Your sewing machine is out of thread. You're on foam and no beer. You don't have all your dogs on one leash. An intellect rivaled only by garden tools. There's no grain in your silo, and your skylight leaks a little. Your belt doesn't go through all the loops. You couldn't pour water out of a boot without instructions on the heel. Your slinky's kinked, and you're proof that evolution can work in reverse. A few feathers short of a whole duck, one fruit loop short of a full bowl.
Airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars. Should be wishing for a brain right now, brain right now, brain right now. Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars? Should be wishing for a brain right now, brain right now, brain right now.
You thought it was over? Well, I'm still standing while you're swinging, flinging feces, talking shit just like the human centipede. You got the mind of a chimp, and I'm here to expedite your shore leave. Cause I'm a seaman, but not the kind I rit up when your mum's gums. I'm the kind that sailed submarines and fired guns. I could float a boat across the ocean with my eyes closed, circumnavigate the globe with a compass and a bag of sausage rolls. Well, all you can do is nibble on your toes. I'll smack you with the hose that you call a water level, sit and swivel. You nasal gazing muppet, you can stuff it harder than the wallet stuffed by Warren Buffett. And I don't care about your sauces unless you're serving them, and I don't care about your lines unless you're curving them. Now step away from me, you're sucking up my oxygen with the vacuum where your brain should be, you dumb fuck. Well, that was fun. A lot of fun, as always. Sticky Sickwell for 20 hours, it says, have a good weekend, everyone. I will see you tomorrow evening as I debate Al Truther. And I have just found out that I could very well be debating Quantum Eraser on the MMM Discord. That will be fun. The Witsit debate will obviously be another time. I've had to recover from my leg and stuff. So anyway, tomorrow, Al Truther, possibly Sunday, Quantum Eraser. Episodes of Flerfs Idiots coming up and all sorts. Remember, guys, stupidity is not right. Let me find my outro before I say that. There we go. Stupidity is not a right. Fight the flat. 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 Good night, all.